Hey guys, welcome to Soul String. What you just heard in the video was this incredible guitar by Vintage Guitarist, the V120. Been following me on social media will know that I got this guitar a few weeks ago, and I've been playing it ever since, which is why I wanted to make this the first guitar to show you as part of the Vintage Guitar series. So just a little disclaimer, as usual, the thoughts are my own and no one else's. So if we start just looking at the instrument, I think the first thing we need to talk about is how beautiful is this relic job. It really is amazing. I've never really been into relic guitars. My first relic guitar, strange enough, was the Vintage Icon V7, which is up there somewhere. That was my first relic guitar. I fell crazy in love with that guitar, and so as soon as I saw this, I couldn't resist. His Gunhill blue over the sunburst, I think, is incredibly appealing. But what I love the most about it is the open pore finish all over the guitar. It feels incredibly tactile. There's different textures all over the guitar. The neck is nice and worn in. It feels great. The second thing I think we also need to talk about, which for me is unbelievable, is how the hardware is relicked. And this is, again, one of those details that a lot of companies don't take the time to do, but it makes or breaks it. Because if you have a nice open pore guitar that looks and feels played in, but then have brand new tuners, that really doesn't work for me. So I absolutely adore the attention to detail that they've put into the relic job, how the pieces are tarnished, they're rusted, and they look amazing. So that's for the vanity side of it. Obviously, guys, as you all know, I like to look good, right? So that's the number one thing. I think we should look at the specs of this guitar quite closely because they are of a very high standard. So starting from top to bottom, as usual, we have the Wilkinson Deluxe tuners. So these are Wilkinson's own brand, and I may sound like a broken record, but the Wilkinson hardware on this is very, very good. They feel great, great ratio to them, and most importantly, they hold tune. So you couldn't ask for any better. But again, just look at that finish. Oh God, it's beautiful. So moving on from that, as with most new Wilkinson guitars, it comes with a Graphtec nuts. So I'm a big fan of Graphtec. I wouldn't change it for the world. Fantastic. Then you have the medium jumbo frets. They are very, very nicely rounded, incredible feeling frets. There's no sharp edges whatsoever. They feel played in the same way as the guitar looks. So that, again, is really good. Up there with the best fret jobs I've seen. Very nicely polished as well. Sometimes you can get a bit of grit on them, but these feel and look fantastic. You have a rosewood fingerboard with a set-in neck construction, which again is very comfortable. The handshake feels good. It's also helped by the fact this is a very, very light guitar. I love that. I also like how they've increased maybe this slope a little more to help that access on the higher notes. Not that I go there, but overall, really, really nice neck. Moving on to the big stuff here, and this is the big stuff. 1P90 Wilkinson pickup. There's a version of this guitar with two pickups. I don't think it's distressed, but the 1P90 is what I wanted. This is the first time, by the way, that I own a P90 guitar. I really wanted one because it kind of bridges that gap between a humbucker and a single coil, or a kind of, if you want to put it this way, sounds like a really ballsy telly bridge humbucker. That's what I want. Fantastic pickup. I must say, the Wilkinson pickups are very, very good. This sounds warm, but has enough punch to play rock styles, even go into something heavier. So I'm a massive fan of this pickup since I've been using it. Then you have single volume, single tone. But what's really good about this is by only having one pickup, it forces you to play around with the volume and tone. And you can get a lot of different sounds from the guitar. Most important thing about this guitar is the Wilkinson wraparound bridge. This is an absolute work of art. It helps you with intonation, as you can see. It's fantastically solid, very solid piece of hardware, and I have no issues with intonation, but also it makes it very comfortable because the strings go up and around. It makes it very easy to bend. And the most important thing, which these guys got right, is it has to have quality hardware. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These 4 specific items, no tuning issues. They make the guitar stay in tune very well. It has to be solid, but also it helps the transfer of the sound. This is a rosewood fingerboard with a mahogany body. I believe it's a 2 or 3 piece body. I can't tell because of the relic very well, but whatever it is very light, which is a great sign. But also what I found is because of the bridge, how solid the bridge is, the sound transfers and vibrates incredibly easily. Even unplugged, you can hear it's really nice and loud. And that is one of the things that you need to look for. Another thing, which is another easy test, is how does it vibrate? Just put your hand on it and can you feel the vibrations of the strings and the sound? And if you put your hand on this, you can feel it vibrating in the whole body. And that's one of the things that for me is the most important because it means there's solid contact everywhere and it will make your guitar sound better and play better. Volume and tone work very, very well on this guitar. The tone has quite a sharp way of tapering down when you bring it to 0, but again, it works fantastically well with the guitar. Very, very simple. You have a very simple access here for the tone, for the electronics, and really, that's about it. This guitar is made in Vietnam, but the most important thing, like I always say, is has this guitar being checked by someone before it comes to me? And as with all the vintage guitars, you do get a QC card that says everything has been inspected. And again, I have to just stress this. I have not done anything on this guitar. If you can see the setup, I have not touched anything. The setup, especially in terms of the strings, was spot on. Low, perfectly, no rattling, the neck is straight, there's no issues there. I really, really think that someone did their job correctly, and when they checked this guitar, they checked that the string height was good, and that's how it got to me. So I'm very, very happy to confirm that the QC, as usual, if I can say, with vintage guitars, the QC is of a very high standard. So well done, guys. So I'll leave you on that note. I will keep playing this baby. I absolutely adore the finish. It's very reasonably priced. So if this is the kind of look you like, but also if you don't like the relic, that's fine. They've got a version that's not relict. They've got a version in TV yellow, I believe, double cutaway as well, if that's what you want. These are guitars that are made for the working musician, and as a working musician, I really enjoy it. It's been on plenty of my tracks, and I look forward to playing it some more, basically. But having said that, I shall get on with rock and rolling. I'll put the links as usual in the description if you want to check this guitar out, if you want to check some of the other vintage guitars at your local dealers. But also, please, as usual, if you don't hate me, just subscribe. It will really help me in terms of getting some more guitars, getting some more cool gear. Peace and love to you all.